President Trump says Iran wants to come to the table and make a deal. That development comes as the U.S. has paused strikes after nearly 2 weeks of hitting the country. It's been 3 nights since U.S. forces last struck. President Trump says if it wasn't for those attacks, Iranian officials would not want to make a deal.
And right now they're talking to us about making a deal, but if we didn't do it tough, there would be no talk. You can't bribe them, you got to beat them, and we're beating the hell out of them.
CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro is in Michigan for us, where the president is, and he joins us now. Aaron, how long is the president willing to wait for a deal before the U.S. resumes strikes again?
Liz, the president behind me is actually speaking right now about Iran, mentioning in his estimate, 52,000 protesters they killed at the beginning of this year. That was sort of an impetus for starting this war. But in regards to this latest try at negotiations, the president is giving somewhat mixed messaging. In an interview with Axios earlier today, he seemed to say that it better happen soon, otherwise U.S. military actions will resume. But in speaking to reporters before coming here on stage in Milford, Michigan, he said on Air Force One that he is in no rush. He said he has, quote, plenty of time, and that if negotiations don't go well, then the U.S. will go back to resuming their military campaign and hitting the country of Iran. Take a listen to more of what the president told reporters on Air Force One earlier this afternoon.
We've pretty much destroyed their military. They want to meet, and we're meeting. We'll see what happens. There's a chance we could make a deal. Without what we did, they wouldn't even be talking to us. They requested a meeting through their surrogates and directly. And we're meeting, and, good things can happen. They requested a meeting. They would not have requested the meeting if we were doing poorly. The only reason they want to meet is because we've been hitting them very hard. Yeah.
How much patience do you have left?
I have a lot of patience. I have plenty of time. Plenty of time. Nobody can believe it.
Now, Iran has maintained today that they are only speaking to the U.S. through indirect channels through other countries. The president was also asked about the ammunition stockpile of the United States decreasing since the beginning of the war with Iran and this continued supply to Ukraine in their war with Russia. He said, quote, it would be nice to have more, to be honest, but also said it would be on Iran to, quote, pay for the damage they did in terms of hitting shipping companies in the Strait of Hormuz. So the president is not giving too many details on where negotiations stand right now, while also saying, at least in terms of his latest comments, that he's in no rush to reach an end.
And Aaron, President Trump is set to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu tomorrow. What can we expect to come out of that?
Yeah, I'll start with the meeting with Zelensky. This follows their meeting last month at the NATO summit in Turkey. President Trump told reporters on Air Force One that he would relay a question to Russian President Putin that Zelensky has in regards to reports of Russia sharing intelligence with Iran regarding where American bases are in the Middle East. In regards to his meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Netanyahu was slated to come for the funeral of Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. He was a big supporter of the American-Israel relationship and said to reporters before leaving for the United States that he would discuss with President Trump, quote, all the issues on the agenda, primarily Iran. He added, quote, our goal is to maintain our security and also expand the circle of peace around us. One thing that could add a wrinkle in this meeting is the objections from Lebanon's president, who has pointed to recent raids by Israeli forces in the southern part of that country, saying it constitutes a, quote, direct violation of human rights and a breach of international laws and norms. The president had just met with Lebanon's president last week and is looking to strengthen that relationship as they try to build their allies in the Middle East during this ongoing war with Iran. So that'll be one thing to watch should reporters be able to get into the room where Netanyahu and President Trump are meeting.
And Aaron, before we let you go, you mentioned the president there. We can hear his voice there behind you. You're in Michigan. I see signs that say American jobs, American cars. Can you give us an idea of what his purpose of his visit to Michigan is today?
Yeah, so far touting the economic actions of his second term, noting how he has brought manufacturing plants from Mexico to the U.S., made specific mention to a GM executive saying that his tariff plans are helping them. He made a quick announcement saying that he is easing regulations to allow companies like GM to build smaller model cars in terms of size like you see in Europe. But it's also a chance for the president to continue his pitch in trying to correct the messaging when it comes to his ongoing war with Iran. Our CBS News polling shows that voters are still confused about where the war stands and if it's justified. The president, in talking about the war, noted how they needed to prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon, noted how if the U.S. did not make those military strikes throughout the past couple of months, Iran would not be in a position to even negotiate.
Aaron Navarro, thanks so much.